Alright, this is exclusive interview for Faygoluvers.net. Here with Hemlock. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
What's up? What's up? Faygoluvers.net. My name is Chad Smith. I do vocals and bass guitar.
What's up? I'm Jesse. I play guitar for Hemlock.
I'm James. I play guitar for Hemlock.
I'm Brian. I play drums. Break some hearts along the way.
Now, Hemlock started in 93, right?
1993.
Now, both of y'all, did y'all decide individually to play instruments when y'all first started, or did y'all get together and be like, oh, we should start playing instruments and do a band?
We always were fans of music, but Brian was jamming with our original guitar player just on the side, jamming Guns N' Roses songs and Metallica and Black Sabbath. And Brian told me that if I learned how to play Appetite for Destruction from Guns N' Roses on bass guitar, that I was allowed to be in the band. That was actually before we were Hemlock.
He's still not in the band yet, though. He got like his far Sweet Child of Mine very quick.
I learned how to play that whole fucking thing. Sorry, are we allowed to cuss on this interview?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like y'all said, the original member was his name Richard?
Yeah, me, Brian, and Richard we had a couple different guys we were jamming with, but when we actually considered starting Hemlock, we had another guy that was going to do vocals, but he never showed up for practice and all that, so we started writing all the music and all the lyrics anyway, so we started as a three-piece with me and Brian and Richard, and did a couple of cassettes back in the day.
Yeah, I remember I got one of those.
Yeah. A couple cassettes, and then from there we added another guitar player, Mike, and we just started really pumping it, touring a bunch, and recorded our first full-length album. And then from there it was just on and on and on and on, and keep going. 21 years now.
Well, when did y'all decide to make it a four-piece band and add another member?
Shortly after being a three-piece, we kept talking about wanting to have an extra guitar.
I think Mike joined officially during Hell Tour '96, so that would have been 3 years. We went for 3 years as a three-piece, and then Mike joined. We just wanted to add some more bottom end, a little more chunk on it, make it heavier. You know, we like our music loud and heavy.
Yeah, especially if there's like a guitar lead or something that doesn't all drop out. So get that heavy chug guitar underneath.
What happened to Mike and Richard? Are they still making music? Did you guys have a fall?
No, Rich is still doing good. He's still playing. He's playing in a band called Heavy Honey out in Vegas. Mike's playing with himself. I don't know. He's probably drinking at a bar as we speak.
Yeah.
Good for him, though.
Mike came back to the band for a while, and he just started drinking so much that he decided not to do music anymore. And it was kind of sad to see our homie go, but he disappeared in the middle of the night and never told us. We still see stuff on Facebook, but he got a Greyhound bus back to Vegas, and every picture we see, he's holding a beer. So I guess he chose alcohol. Yeah, no, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. We chose rock and roll. That's
I
our.
choose both. I'm a drummer. I can do more than one thing.
Yeah.
So I
He
can
multitasks.
and play drums, drink, and eat pussy at the same time.
Yeah. We started Hemlock when I was.
Oh shit!
We started Hemlock when I was 15 and Brian was 17, and we've always been the driving force of it. So we've never given up. Bleed the dream. Just keep going no matter what. Brian took a little break in the middle, but he's back full effect more than ever. So
Yeah.
when I got him back in the band after we went to Japan, I tried getting him to go to Japan with us, and he wasn't able to do it. He had responsibilities at home, but we had a different drummer when we got back from Japan. I was like, just join the band again. So he came back, and it was like winning the lottery to get that crazy guy back on the drums. So look how handsome he is.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, don't touch me.
How handsome he is. I'm just,
It's so handsome. Why did you decide to leave the band for a while?
Responsibilities. Had a son. My ex-wife was a cunt.
oh my God.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, you know?
He was trying to be responsible, because when you're in a band, it's very hard to have a home life and a road life. Usually they don't work well together, oil and water style, you know.
So anyways, yeah, my son's a little older, so it just worked out. All the planets aligned. I was filling when I could. I just couldn't do full tours.
Yeah, we
I'd go off for a
covered
couple
some
weeks
stuff.
here and there, but yeah, just all the planets aligned.
Ryan met us in 2000 at the Unity Center.
Yeah.
That was when all those kids were doing that line dancing to Rob Zombie at the Unity Center, and then they started doing the Metallica chant.
They were doing that shit before Jersey Shore. They were beating the beat up.
They were doing Metallica breakdown, as I lay me down to sleep, and that girl was doing this coming up out of it. And we were like, these kids in Roswell are fucking crazy, and we love it. We love it.
I know over the years.
I can't believe that's been 14 years
Yeah,
ago.
hell yeah, man. I know over the years there's been several different members of Hemlock. I know for like
And this
the
could go in the
last 4 or 5 years, Jesse's all of our
I told him he's not allowed to leave.
He's our favorite member.
He'd break my heart. He's not allowed to leave.
What is it about Jesse that's making him stick around in Hemlock? Is it just timing?
He rocks the fuck out.
Yeah, he does rock out harder than anybody else ever in Hemlock, so he makes me rock out harder. But just being very easygoing guy, not complaining, because honestly, I mean, it is hard. All of the money we make usually goes to the gas tank, and it's hard. But
That and
You
all
have
the,
to-
all the bitches and half the dudes in the audience want to hook up with them. That's a true story.
you have to,
He gets
in
propositions about
a metal band, you have to do it because you love to do it. So obviously, he's like totally into it. I hope. Like, that's good. He stays in the band because he has soft hands.
He uses a lot of germs.
Jerkins lotion.
And I know James has been part of the group for a while.
He's been around for ages.
Wasn't he part of the group back years ago? Or am I mistaken?
No, I met these guys, at least these two, about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I lived in Texas, and they would come to where I was living and play, and I would open for.
You were living in Jinx?
Lubbock.
Not too far
okay.
from here, Lubbock, Texas. We'd always have him do our sound, and then he was going to go out as our sound guy. And then I told him, I was like, hey, learn all the guitar parts. We want you to be on stage with us. So it's been 7 or 8 months now,
Almost a year. Yeah.
and he knows 39 Hemlock songs.
I believe July 8th will be a year.
That's weird because Jesse only knows 35. I had to teach him a couple songs.
I had a couple of my friends that wanted to know, because he had the strange music tattoo and everything, what happened to Aaron?
Aaron? Who? I'm just joking. We honestly thought he would never leave, but he quit. Realistically, the 100% is we took off 4 months over the holidays. He got a girlfriend, claimed it was his true love, even though he barely knew her. Quit the band, never showed up for the tour, even though he swore he was going to be there. Never showed up since.
Well, mid-tour.
Yeah, well, he went home to visit her for 3 days. I promise I'll see you in Norfolk, Nebraska. I promise, I promise. Of course, I knew in my heart he wasn't going to show up because he was just whooped and whatever. Then she dumped him 3 weeks later. But within that time frame, we got James, and we were like, honestly, Aaron's still our friend, but we give him shit, of course, you know. But you can never rely on somebody that leaves you hanging like that because it's not even letting us down. When you don't show up for tour, you're selling out on us, you're selling out on the promoters, you're selling out on the fans, you're selling out on the people that sell concessions. Everybody, it's not just us, it's the whole tour, everybody involved. So honestly, Aaron's still a bro, but at the same time, he's kind of just a hoe. So
Yeah! For sure.
If I'm correct about this, a couple years ago, didn't you say that y'all had talked to Roadrunner Records?
yeah. We talked to them actually back
Long
in
ass time.
2000. They were flying to our shows and talking about signing us. The 2 guys that they hired to sign bands would come to all the shows and taking pictures with our manager going to sign us, and it was bad timing because that's when 9/11 went down that fall in 01, I think is what it was, or whatever. It was within that whole time frame. They were coming out to shows every couple of months, so over that year we were like, cool, we're going to sign to Roadrunner Records, because most of the bands that we grew up listening to were on Roadrunner. I mean, Machine Head and Sepultura, Biohazard, all of them back in the day.
Misfits at one point?
Yeah. So it just 9/11 went down, and everybody in the music industry tucked their nuts up. They didn't want to. They were scared. They took Drowning Pool off the radio because Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. They didn't want to sign Hemlock anymore because we have a song called Nobody Knows What a Killer Looks Like, and it just was bad timing to where everybody was like, oh, we're only going to sign stuff like the Wiggles or something. You know?
Not even just music, the whole entertainment industry, everything, video, a lot of
I didn't think it was
been the same
when it went down. I didn't think it would be that crazy, but I mean, it did affect everybody on a level. Movies, there were certain movies that couldn't come out because it was too sensitive of a subject and stuff. But so we got about that close to Roadrunner, and then they just kind of.
That we had a shitty manager too at the time. That didn't help anything.
I was just joking. Yeah, we had a manager that couldn't close the deal. We would always like go out of our way and impress these people and do these awesome shows, and then he would just smoke so much weed and be lazy and never do anything. So
Let him get smoking weed as long as you get shit done.
He'd just eat too much buffet food.
Fucking jaw he'd lay back and finger his pussy and not do shit.
I would wind up calling. I actually was calling Roadrunner Records and setting up interviews, and then I'd ask our manager, I'm like, hey, did you call him at 2:30 on Tuesday like I had set up? He's like, oh, I forgot, I was watching TV. And I'm like, what the fuck kind of manager are you? I'm like, so it just was bad timing and a bad manager, but it's still cool because the record industry just keeps going downhill. We keep going forward because we keep connecting with fans. You know, more and more fans on a ground level, you know, grassroots level, and we've never done it for the industry. We always do it for the fans and the friends, and get to meet people like you that we've known for almost 20 years, you know, and now we're homies.
Aren't you guys, is it Continental Entertainment?
Yeah, we work with those guys, Continental Entertainment. They're out of New York.
How'd you guys hear them and get to working with them?
We did a show in El Paso, actually. I remember the date because it was funny. It was the 6606, so it was 666 show, and it was a Tuesday night, and we were all sick as hell, and we did a show in El Paso, and I remember it just was crazy. It was a Tuesday, but the sound guy was Eddie from Pissing Razors, which is a band from El Paso. He put us in touch with them, and they put us in touch. And then that's part of the reason why we were able to go to Europe and tour with Ministry and do all kinds of fun stuff. So, got to go to Japan too, which was awesome. Brian had never flown on an airplane before. In 2012, me and Brian, Jesse, and Aaron, we flew over to Europe. Brian's first airplane flight ever was to Atlanta and then all the way over to Dusseldorf, Germany. So we got to rock over in Europe for like a month. Rocked over in Europe, rocked in Ireland, Belgium, Switzerland, Germany, it was Czech Republic.
Y'all did the Lead the Dream show today, and I know Lead the Dream, y'all released it or re-released it on another label.
That was part of that with the Continental Entertainment. We released it in 2004, and then we re-released it on Candlelight Records in 2007. So it was just part of the same thing with Continental. We took it, leased it, then we toured with Obituary and did a big old U.S. tour.
That was primarily Japanese release.
And a Japanese, they got it released over. It was cool. We went over to Japan, and you go into Tower Records, and it's like 5 stories tall. We rode the escalator up to like the 5th floor, and a section that says Hemlock with like 3 CDs and the magazine with the ads in it and everything. It was cool.
Y'all's album Pigeonhole.
I love that you know them all by name.
Y'all had a former member of Soulfly that produced it.
Yeah. Mikey. He was in Snot originally. That was the band he came up with Snot, and then their singer unfortunately passed away. And he joined Soulfly, and he was in a band called A Bloom and In Vitro. And then he was in Channel Zero. He's been in a bunch of bands.
Produced a lot of stuff.
He produced our stuff when he was in Soulfly, so it was cool to, you know, because we had done a bunch of shows with those guys. So.
Didn't y'all talk with Kevin Zinger?
We talked to them a little bit back then. I'd call Kevin Zinger, and he'd answer the phone, and he'd be like, nobody knows what a killer looks like. And I just start laughing. I'm like, cool, the dude from SRH knows Hemlock. But same thing, it was just that same time frame to where it wasn't right, you know. Who knows, maybe one of these days they'll be like, all right, Hemlock's still kicking ass, we want to sign him. And if not, we're going to keep going no matter what, because we love to rock and roll.
Brian, didn't you mention earlier that y'all sing packages to strange music or something?
I don't think I mentioned that, did I?
I did.
You did.
You did, okay, I mean one of y'all did.
That's all good, that's all good. Well, we know Big G, he actually is the sound guy and like the road manager of Tech 9.
Yeah.
And he mixed us actually when we opened for Soulfly in Phoenix at the Marquee Theater. So I got a hold of Big G and mailed him in a couple of our albums, and we'll see. I heard Tech is actually metalheads. So it'd be cool if we got signed to Strange Music, just because they have a grassroots foundation. And even though it's predominantly rap, we love it because they know how to promote. You know, they
got a couple of rock groups on there.
And I heard Tech's new album actually has some guitar in it and everything too. I mean,
released an all rock album.
we're fans of every kind of music there is. You know, we love NWA, we love Metallica, we love Neil Diamond, we love Pantera. You know, Huey Lewis and the News, everything. If it's good music, Willie Nelson. If it's good music, it's good music. You know, from Johnny Cash to Deicide and everything in between.
Elvis.
Didn't you do some reviews for some shows back in the day? You did a review for an ICP show?
Oh, man, you remember good.
I actually snuck in backstage at an ICP show in Vegas because I had not really snuck in, but the crew thought I was either one of the dudes or just with the crew, because I have my dreadlocks still and everything. So it's kind of funny, I kind of like snuck up back on stage, I had some Hemlock CDs and stuff, and they're all asking me about the lighting. You're like, do you like these lights? I go, yeah, that looks good. I just never
Our first manager actually had a newspaper. His name was Chris Benner. He had a newspaper, and they wanted somebody to do a review of the show. So I went down, and I think it was when Malinka first came out. It was a long time ago, and they asked me to do a review. And I'd heard a little bit about ICP, but not really a ton. And I was in the back of the theater. It was like a big old movie theater. I was in the back with my notepad. You know, this is old school. Write down notes, and they had the cool stage setup. And they started doing the Faygo stuff and all that.
Like my notes.
I was all the way in the back, but it was funny because I could just smell the waft of like root beer and soda.
And sweat.
And sweat. And it was cool. They had those big old buckets of just Faygo, and they had the super soakers. They pull them up like this, and they shoot all the way out into the audience. It was kind of like a Guar version, because Guar always does the guts and the blood, but ICP was the soda, and that bass was just hitting so hard. I was like, man, these guys are awesome. And they had they built like a crooked fridge. It was all like Tim Burton looking on the stage setup, and they open it up, and all this fog comes out, and it's all bottles of Faygo, and I just started laughing. So I wrote a show review, you know, talking about it, and they've always been cool to where they've crossed over between metalheads and punk rockers and hip hoppers all together. You know, all the juggalos. They like same thing. If it's good music, it's good music. You know, if it's got a beat, some good lyrics to it, whether it's metal or thrash or hip hop or whatever, we like it all for sure.
I know you guys came out with a couple of projects recently. You guys want to talk about
The actual album and stuff.
Yeah, the albums.
I'll let Brian talk about it, and James and Jesse.
James was very involved in the live recording.
Yeah, we just did a live CD in Vegas. It's the 20-year anniversary show, and it was really awesome to be a part of. We actually mixed it in the bus, me and Brian. Mixed in the bus, we mixed it in random places because obviously we didn't have a nice, super awesome $1 million studio with us.
But he has his laptop, so he has all that on there, and then we have a really nice system that our friend from Nebraska put in, so it actually has a lot of bass to it.
Yeah, I had never actually did a live album before. I recorded other stuff, you know, other albums, various types, but nothing live before. So that was kind of a challenge, and working with Brian and.
That was a challenge.
Yeah. Well, it was weird because I wasn't used to mixing in a box. You know, I'm used to having studio monitors and all that stuff. But it was cool getting to hear, you know, his views and Chad's views, how they wanted it to sound and all that. And it was good. It was, you know, of course, like any project, but it wasn't really too drastic. I think it came out pretty well. And, you know, we got the DVD now too, so it's the same audio. You know,
they got the mix on the album, so then they just match it up with the DVD, so it actually sounds good.
I believe the guy that was supposed to do it never showed up. So
to record it.
Yeah. So Chad and Brian asked me to do it, and I was like, sure, why not? So which is better in the end because that gave us more control over it. You know. But it gave us more control over it. So you know, the fact that it was technically
in-house production.
Yeah. Then we decided to name it Viva Las Vegas since it was filmed in Las Vegas.
Just kind of a live greatest hits of songs.
Yeah.
Every song's a fucking yeah.
I don't ever really care for greatest hits albums because then they make you rebuy all the same songs you already have, and they put like one bonus song.
One or two.
But we figured if we did a live album, because we try to pick a few good songs off of each album, it was cool because you capture the energy of the live, but it's just, you know.
Plus there's more cussing.
Yeah.
That was our first parental advisory. Like,
Hell yeah. Yeah. Well, on iTunes it has the explicit logo. But that was, the hardest challenge of it was because we did so many songs, we had to figure out where to slice it to fit it all in one CD because there was so much, you know, talking and, you know.
Not enough for two discs, but a little too much to fit on one. So
Right.
we had to snip a little bit of the audio dead space, basically. The DVD's full entirely. The CD is. You lose about 2 minutes.
You guys should come to Vegas this Saturday. We're doing a free show there on the Strip. Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street.
Yeah, same baby.
Awesome. Congrats.
Congratulations.
You guys got any future projects in here, or you just touring right now?
Rocking and rolling. We're actually going to do some more writing this winter and try and put out a new album next year, a new full-length studio album. Like to get some money saved up so we can go back to Europe again. It just costs so much to fly back and forth. So in case anybody's watching this and they're like a billionaire, hit us up.
Or we might just get one-way tickets and just stay over there.
Or maybe we'll start selling our bodies in Vegas.
Or Amsterdam.
I'd like to go back to Europe again. It's always a blast over there. And but yeah, we're gonna work on a new album. Just doing a lot of touring and just doing our thing and having fun, smiling at the end of the day, you know.
I know Brian's part of another band. Do you guys have any other side projects you guys are a part of?
Just karaoke afterwards. That's our main thing. That's our main thing.
They do a little bit of stuff, but I keep them so busy with Hemlock. I book all the tours, and before we know it, we're like, man, that was a whole nother year. This is the unnormal life of normalness.
Well, you guys want to give out y'all like official website links?
Here we go. All right, we'll do one at a time. You chance
On the DVD, we do this because Brian messes it up, Jesse messes it up, so when you watch your DVD, and Brian loves to do this for checklists. He always names them.
So I'll start down here. All right. Official Hemlock website is www.hemlockworld.com.
You did it right!
I know. Pick one. You fuck it up, you get punched.
The official YouTube. YouTube.com/HemlockWorld.
Oh, you barely got it, but you better say it a little more legible.
Less lispy.
YouTube.com/HemlockWorld.
Good job. No punch for you.
Twitter @HemlockWorld.
Holy shit, you done deep.
Oh, none of you guys are getting punched.
I know, go.
I'm proud of you
You're
guys.
next.
I'll do the classic, MySpace. www, which stands for World Wide Web, in case you don't know, .hemlockworld.com.
I already did that. That's the official.
You did Facebook.
No, I did not.
Oh, well then punch me then.
Do the Facebook.
I was blocking you out like I do all the time.
Reverb Nation also?
Yeah, we got Reverb Nation, but the Facebook, which is where most people are on nowadays, eventually they'll probably change to some other new thing because everybody was crazy about MySpace. Then but a lot of Europeans still use MySpace, so we still have ours actually. But Facebook.com/HemlockWorld.
God, barely.
All right, y'all want to say anything else to the fans out there?
Thank you, Faygoluvers. We owe it to this guy right here for getting us on there all the time, and we would love to hear from you. We like to play music with the fucking groove and a beat. A lot of jumping, a lot of thrashing, a lot of mixture of it all. Good old stuff like our brothers at Head PE, where it's punk rock, metal, thrash, hip hop, all in a blender. Hip hop.
Anonymous.
Thugnasty.net.
Thank you very much. Hit us up online. We'll be in your neighborhood one day or another.
All right, we're out.